Welcome back to Season 2 of The Human Experience, covering the nature of addiction. Today's episode will explore the experience of addiction. That is, what does it feel like to be a person addicted to a substance or behavior? What goes on in the mind and body, and how much control does a person really have? By studying the experience and touch points of addiction, you can identify where it shows up in your life. Once you understand how addiction works, then you can identify all the ways that you are hooked and cornered. The experience of addiction, it tells a story. It explains what is going on. And this is what we will begin to explore, is how the experience of addiction informs the recovery from addiction. Now, to start, what I mean by the experience of addiction is the felt experience, and literally, what does it feel like for the person on the inside? Addicted to something, what does a person encounter, undergo, observe, and gain knowledge and skill of? Addicted, what is the daily focus, drive, activity, and codes to live by? Addicted, what goes on in the mind and body? To observe the experience of addiction, I will first touch on some general advantages and disadvantages, and then I will jump into the heart of the addiction experience, the unspoken truth and the reality of the situation that feels most like an inner battle. To the advantages first, addictive rituals produce a number of temporary yet reliable and consistent benefits. Addictive rituals can support people in three main ways: by providing relief for discomfort, enhancing emotions and mood and helping one to feel good, and by stimulating the brain and body, increasing motivation and performance. The experience of addiction for many is enjoyable, rewarding, and worth the side effects and setbacks. Not everybody is miserable, struggling, and trying to break the hold of addiction. Some people feel acceptance and contentment around their addictive rituals and may not realize they are suffering underneath and creating more hardships as a result. Relying on the short-term benefits is a normality these days. It's not only accepted, but it's often encouraged and celebrated. Certainly not everybody is complaining or praying for change yet. The disadvantages of becoming addicted is turning your power over and dropping down, regardless of perceived benefit. These inconvenient consequences are things like the highs wearing off, craving and yearning again, being consumed in every aspect by addiction, having to synthetically motivate for each thing, forgetting things, screwing things up, letting others down, missing opportunities, and losing balance and wholeness. The disadvantages attract their own addictive solutions. So again, not everybody is fully aware of the drawbacks because the disadvantages are just a normal part of the territory. So while the experience of addiction might be all-consuming, depleting, and constantly detouring, this just feels like life for people. For instance, a hangover. It's expected, there's a lot of remedies, and other people will understand. So, when we talk about addiction, it's important to understand that there are positives and negatives. Without the positives, the force of addiction would have a really hard time surviving and testing us. All right, for the main part of this episode, the experience of addiction. When you reflect on your relationship to addictive things, what has been your overall experience? Has it been more of a mental, emotional, social, cultural, physical, material, or mystical, spiritual experience for you? Has your experience with any particular addiction felt manageable or uncontrollable? Consistently good or mostly bad? And overall, have your addictive behaviors created a net positive or a net negative in your life? When I observe and explore the experience of addiction, I see all roads tying into the inner battle and separation within oneself. So that is how I will center the following discussion points. The experience of addiction perpetuates the separation and battle within oneself, their family, and society in three ways. Number one, offering instant relief and benefit at a cost. Number two, manifesting alter egos that oppose the true self. And number 3, centering human potential around addictive things. Starting with number 1, the experience of addiction perpetuates inner conflict by offering instant relief and benefit at a cost. The perks and benefit of addictive rituals provide every day, and even though they come at a cost, they still work in the moment every time. As the consequences pile up, though, and the sense of urgency to save yourself and turn things around emerges, you eventually become disillusioned. When this happens, there's one part of you still in service to the addiction, and another part of you that sees the illusion of short-term benefit. This is where the inner conflict surfaces. Before, you were happy and content relying on particular things for resolve, but now you cannot ignore the side effects and the costs of addiction, and you realize that you're going to have to transition at some point. You see that instant gratification is going to get the best of you because you're not facing your stuff and it's piling up on you. So you want to change, but now you face the inner conflict of having to suffer in the moment and sacrifice something that you are used to having for a potential reward in the future. It's like the saying, pain equals gain. You have to suffer and sacrifice a bit as you change your ways, but when you do, it will all be worth it. There are challenges and consequences of changing too. You have to look in the mirror, identify your issues, solve problems, get honest, learn better ways, make amends, set new boundaries, give things up, and endure the indefinite discomfort that comes with change without giving into old ways. When the stakes are high and you need an immediate boost to your mood and performance, or when the test is particularly challenging and you need some quick relief, the option to take the shortcut is always available. So whether you are staying straight or giving in, you are facing some degree of inner conflict as a result of your own free will to choose fulfillment now or later. Moving into number 2 now. The experience of addiction perpetuates an inner battle by manifesting alter egos that oppose the true self. As you develop your relationship to things and act in dependence of them, you develop another aspect of yourself to go along with each thing. So, through the addictive engagement to things, alter egos are manifested. The more things you become attached to and dependent on, the stronger these other aspects of you become. By adulthood, people often have a lot of different parts of themselves. Each of these aspects emerges with its own mind, voice, personality, and motive. These different parts of you live through you, but they are not in synergy with you. They act in favor of the addiction they were born in. They don't know the total and true you. They only know and see themselves. So this puts you at odds with yourself because you have many different selves, and each with a different voice and personality that is pulling you in different directions. So to feel happy and to function, you feel like you have to please and satisfy each one every day. This process of splitting into different aspects starts in childhood, through adverse and traumatic experiences, and through the material world desires and attachments that we acquire through such. Through life, we develop different personas for self-protection, self-identity, and personal advantages. Depending on when and why they develop determines the influence they have and the desires and addictions they lead you to. It is through these addictive behaviors that people maintain a defense from their fears and pain. Through childhood and into adulthood, any time that you had to be something that you weren't, protect yourself from danger, or shield yourself from the unthinkable, or numb yourself from the unbearable, you put up a defense against this vulnerability. And as a people, when we continue to use that defense and we build a dependency to it, another aspect of ourselves forms there. Addicted, the human psyche forms a wolf pack of different energies, seated at the council of the brain, occupying human consciousness and controlling behavior. Every time another alter ego comes into being, or one is split from their true self again, it is like another baby wolf is born. Each wolf represents a different challenge in your life that emerged in a time of need. These wolves manifest for protection and guidance, but out of balance, they work against each other and oppose the true self. This creates the experience of an inner battle within oneself. The wolves that manifest for protection in the material world, they serve and support you in the moment and can keep you alive. However, out of balance and resolution, these wolves tend to dominate and can even become fatally aggressive. So these wolves become the black wolves in this analogy. They are good for instinct, protection, and strength, but they go to extremes because they cannot see the whole picture. They become addicted to feeding off the power of things to forever defend and protect the you that they know from pain, unaware that they're actually creating more pain for your total self. The white wolves are the wolves that materialize for intuitive, spiritual, and practical guidance through life. Metaphorically speaking, these wolves represent your spiritual aspects, your higher knowing, and a bigger picture and purpose for your life. The white wolves guide you forward and upward as well as inward, because they see the bigger picture and they know your core values. They have the advantage because they have clarity, purpose, and they understand the process. But they have a disadvantage to the black wolves who offer instant gratification and rewards in the here and now. Due to the addiction phenomenon that draws people into the material world and away from the spiritual work, the black wolves have the advantage and take much of the work. The black wolves are always working to evade pain, suffering, responsibility, and conscience. They focus on getting a leg up in life for the person by keeping the mind focused on immediate relief, pleasure, and benefit, and maintaining a state of constant chaos and stress. This prevents healing and growth by allowing the darkness to continue to exploit unresolved and vulnerable areas. The white wolves offer guidance and signal right action and keep people afloat in life. They are like the voices of truth, purpose, and morality. Eventually, the white wolves help their person wake up, and in their disillusionment, a person finds him or herself addicted. Their mind, body, and spirit, and the landscape of their relationships and life is affixed to the addictive lifestyle which exists inside the addicted culture, and thus a person finds themselves hooked at every level. In this analogy, the white wolves represent your better, more wholesome self, all the parts of you that want to live, be good, do right, get healthy, and live a balanced life. The black wolves represent your alter egos, those parts of you that want to feel good, save face, be comfortable, do what is most convenient, and reap the instant gratification despite negative consequences. For instance, the wolves that surface in times of pain and trauma will guide you toward safety, relief, and comfort, which makes you susceptible to addiction if that pain and trauma is not dealt with. Or let's say the wolves that show up in times of karma and wrongdoing. They might guide you toward defenses for your ego or help you to project problems onto everything else. Or let's say the wolves that surface in times of creativity and imagination. They might guide you toward passion and purpose. So at times in your life, each wolf plays an important role in protecting and guiding you. But as you mature, if you are not healing, resolving, and integrating these different parts back into your whole self, well, then you will continue to battle with yourself, which naturally puts you at odds with others and the environment. This is the experience of addiction, the experience of being in a battle with yourself, and you are your own opponent. The force, consciousness, and personality of each black wolf will not surrender duty because that would be the end of its life. Its job is to keep you from pain. So these wolves survive in your shadow, occupying and controlling the show. Every day there's an inner battle between dark and light, truth and deception, temperance and temptation, purity and toxicity, and redemption and forfeit. Inside, you cry for help, but outside, your alter personalities are already at it again. And they even infiltrate your plans to change to make sure that it never actually happens. You try to control it. You try to stop. You try to distract from the problem. You keep yourself busy with dramas. You cover up the consequences. You focus on things you can control, but you keep falling back. You tell yourself you will change. You tell others you will change, and you make efforts to change, but you fall back again. Through the never-ending cycle of feeling powerless, you grow deeply frustrated and then angry. You let others down, and you remain stuck in this loop of shame and addiction. You want things to be different. You want to change or stop. You want to do better, but you keep falling back. And this is because you are trapped inside a battle with yourself, run by your addictive parts, which don't let you speak up and keep you in silence. With each liberating thought, your alter personality jumps in and takes over, blocking your awakening with excuses like, I would change if it weren't for these withdrawals, or I have way too much going on right now to tackle that today, or I need to do these things to feel good and to function, or I want to change, but I'm not going to throw my stash away, so I'll have to wait until next week. Or, I'm seeing so-and-so today, we always do these things together, I'm not going to tell them no. Or, I'm working on it, I will do it tomorrow. So, in summary of point 2, the experience of addiction feels like a battle between the different parts of yourself. And in this analogy, the white wolves of reason and goodness, they cannot reach the black wolves who are deluded by their own existence and motive. Turning to the third and final point now, the experience of addiction perpetuates inner conflict by centering human potential around addictive things. Civilian life is based on and functions through countless addictions. Coffee to get going in the morning, breaking news to stimulate juices in the brain, sugar to excite emotions, a little drama to occupy one's mind, endless busyness to give meaning, self-image to create a sense of importance, substances to take the edge off, television, video games, and social media for entertainment, and sleeping pills to fall asleep after another day of synthetically jacking yourself up. And if any of these rituals are missed, a person will suffer or lag behind. And yet, everybody has a list of daily rituals that they use to get a serotonin, a dopamine, or an adrenaline hit. And when these things do not happen in the right order at the right time each day, some kind of withdrawal is felt. And not only do people suffer in the absence of these addictive rituals, but social achievement, status, and success is built on the addictive lifestyle. To be the top in your class, to win first place in the race, to get the person or promotion of your dreams, and to fulfill your goals, not to mention your daily responsibilities, people are taught to rely on addictive rituals for the advantage. This too puts people into conflict within themselves. At heart's center and in one's highest mind, people want to free themselves from the bondage of a suffering body. But in a society that is built on the addictive advantages, even if you want to change, you find yourself up against every opposition out there. When you go along with it, the consequences are normalized with everyone else. But when you stand up and try to beat addiction, the social matrix fights back. Just look at how upset and triggered that others can become when you try to stop participating in addictive things. Or just think about how hard it can feel at times to keep up with others who are taking addictive shortcuts. Now, in summary, the experience of addiction offers instant relief and benefit at a cost, manifests alter egos that oppose the true self, and centers human potential around addictive things, all things that lead to the inner battle and separation within oneself. Now, to integrate this episode, how would you describe your inner experience with any addictions that you've had or are currently experiencing? And how have these addictions highlighted or perpetuated inner conflict and separation within yourself, and what has this been like for you? For the next episode, I will be talking about the phenomenon and enchantment of addiction. Thank you for watching.